Have you ever fallen asleep while praying the Rosary? This message will transform your perspective on it. Many faithful have experienced starting to pray with fervor, only to be suddenly overcome by sleep. If this has happened to you, know that you are not alone. And more importantly, it may not be a mere coincidence. What seems like a distraction or human weakness could in fact hold deep spiritual meaning, especially in light of the teachings of St. Pio of Pietrelcina. Padre Pio, known for his intense devotion, praying more than 30 rosaries a day, understood that sleep during prayer was not merely a sign of physical tiredness. Instead, he saw it as a phenomenon rich in symbolism, which could indicate anything from a spiritual battle to an act of divine protection. Picture this scene. After an exhausting day, you take your rosary with a heart full of faith. Gradually, however, the words of the prayer blend with the stillness of the night, and you drift off to sleep. Many blame themselves for this, as if they had failed in their mission to pray. But what if, in reality, this sleep were an invitation to something greater? According to Padre Pio, the rosary is a powerful spiritual weapon, and like any valuable weapon, it attracts resistance. Sudden fatigue during prayer could be a sign that opposing forces are trying to distract you, or paradoxically, that God is guarding you in a moment of vulnerability. There's also the possibility that it's simply your body asking for rest. But how can you discern the difference? In the following paragraphs, you will discover the 3 spiritual causes behind sleep during the Rosary, according to Padre Pio's wisdom. How to identify whether it's a battle, a grace, or just physical need. Practical techniques to maintain focus and presence in prayer, inspired by the saint's habits. If you've ever felt an inexplicable peace after falling asleep in the middle of the Rosary, or if fatigue seems to arise precisely when you decide to pray, pay attention. These signs could be divine messages, and interpreting them could revolutionize your prayer life. Padre Pio used to say, "With the Rosary we will triumph," and he did not see it as a mechanical repetition of words, but as a shield and sword in spiritual warfare. His own Rosary, worn down by decades of use, was proof of this. By the end of this reflection, you will not only understand the meaning of sleep in prayer, but also learn how to transform these moments into stepping stones toward a deeper faith. Get ready. Your spiritual journey is about to take on new meaning. The invisible power of the Rosary, what Padre Pio teaches us about this spiritual weapon. The life of St. Pio was marked by supernatural phenomena, but one element always stood out in his journey: the Rosary. On the darkest nights, when spiritual battles intensified, he found strength in the beads of the Rosary, as if each Hail Mary were a shield against evil. And this same power is available to us, often in ways we don't even perceive. Has this ever happened to you? Finishing the Rosary and feeling a peace you can't explain, or seeing seemingly unsolvable problems resolve themselves mysteriously? Padre Pio taught that this is no coincidence. Each Hail Mary is like a rose placed in the hands of the Virgin, and in return she wraps us in her protective mantle. The Rosary is a universal remedy. In the confessional, Padre Pio had one unfailing piece of advice: pray the Rosary with faith, and you will see miracles. No matter the crisis, whether familial, financial, or spiritual, the solution always involved this simple prayer. But there's a fascinating detail. The enemy of the soul fears the Rosary, and that is precisely why so many faithful face distractions, fatigue, or sudden drowsiness when they begin to pray it. Padre Pio revealed that every Hail Mary said with devotion is like a precise blow against the forces of evil. When you feel an inexplicable resistance while praying, it could be a sign that you're fighting an invisible battle, and sleep, in some cases, is an attempt at spiritual sabotage. But beware, that's not always the case. It could also be by and divine protection. God allowing rest as a refuge. Natural fatigue, the body asking for a break after an intense day. Spiritual battle, the enemy trying to interrupt your prayer. The 3 signs of the Rosary's power. Padre Pio highlighted 3 visible fruits of this prayer. 1. Deep peace, a serenity beyond understanding. 2. Tangible transformations. Difficult situations. Resolving in surprising ways. 1. Invisible protection. Like a wall rising against spiritual threats. Each meditated mystery strengthens the soul, brick by brick, building a fortress of faith. And though some criticize the Rosary for being repetitive, that is precisely its strength. The simplicity of the Hail Marys frees us to immerse ourselves in the deepest mysteries, and that is what the enemy fears most. Padre Pio summed it up this way: the Rosary is the weapon of the saints. And his own Rosary, worn down by use, was proof that this weapon works. If you desire a stronger spiritual life, start here, with a Rosary in your hand and an open heart to the miracles it can awaken. Sleep. During the Rosary, sign of weakness or divine grace. The prayer of the Rosary is unique. It combines repeated words with silent meditation, creating a spiritual barrier that protects those who pray with devotion. But what happens when fatigue overcomes our will to pray? What does it mean? Padre Pio, who understood the mysteries of spiritual life like no one else, taught that falling asleep during the Rosary can have 3 distinct origins, and not all are what they seem. 1. The sleep of the weary. When the body asks for rest. We are human. If the day was long and exhaustion sets in during prayer, there's no guilt in that. The body, temple of the Holy Spirit, needs repose. Padre Pio said this kind of sleep comes slowly, after an intense day, and doesn't bring anguish, just the natural need to rest. What to do? Don't blame yourself. Divide the Rosary into smaller parts throughout the day. Pray during times when you're more awake. Touch in the sleep of battle, when the enemy tries to interrupt. The Rosary is a powerful weapon, and the enemy knows it. If sleep comes suddenly, even when you're not physically tired, especially at crucial moments in prayer, it could be a spiritual attack. Padre Pio saw this as a paradoxical sign. It means your prayer is having an effect and therefore meeting resistance. How to respond? Persist with even greater determination. Remember, every Hail Mary is a blow against the darkness. There's the sleep of protection, when God guards us. What if sleep is actually a refuge? Padre Pio revealed that sometimes God allows us to fall asleep to protect us from spiritual battles we're not yet ready to face. This sleep is accompanied by a deep peace count during and after resting, a sense of renewal upon waking, the impression that something important happened, even if we don't understand what to do. Rest without remorse like a child in the Father's arms. Trust, the Virgin is covering you with her mantle. Padre Pio's wisdom, perseverance is the key. It doesn't matter if you prayed the Rosary with fervor or fell asleep in the middle. What counts is not giving up. Every Hail Mary planted in the heart blossoms into graces even if we don't see them. As the saint used to say, the Rosary is the weapon, faith the ammunition, and perseverance the victory. The next time sleep comes during prayer, observe, is it weariness, battle, or divine care? And remember, even in the silence of rest, God is at work. If sleep catches you with the Rosary in your hand, do not fear. It may be the Virgin saying, "Rest, my child, for today I will pray for you." Padre Pio left us a precious legacy. Prayer is not measured by tiredness, but by perseverance. Even when sleep overcomes us during the Rosary, there is a divine lesson in it, and an opportunity to grow in faith. Practical techniques for better prayer. Preparing the heart for the Rosary. Before beginning, Padre Pio recommended a sacred space. A quiet corner with a candle or crucifix. Reverent posture. Sitting or kneeling, holding the Rosary with devotion. Opening prayer. Holy Spirit, guide my mind and heart. Techniques for deep prayer. 1. Visualize the mysteries. Imagine scenes from Jesus' life in each decade. 2. Contemplative rhythm. Pray slowly as if speaking with a friend. 3. Heartfelt prayer. Synchronize the Hail Marys with your breathing. 4. Offer each decade. For a specific intention: family, conversions, peace. When? Sleep is human. Accept with humility. If physical fatigue sets in, it's not failure. It's humanity. Padre Pio taught, divide the rosary ode into parts throughout the day. Pray while moving. Walk slowly to stay focused. Choose times when you're more alert, like early morning. God does not demand impossible heroism, only a willing heart. When sleep is a battle, persist with courage. If sleep comes suddenly, without physical cause, it may be a spiritual attack. In these moments, Padre Pio would pray aloud with firmness. Change posture. Stand up, walk around. Make the sign of the cross and invoke, Mary, help me. The enemy trembles at every Hail Mary. That's why he tries to silence it. When sleep is a grace, rest in trust. Sometimes sleep is a keen divine embrace. Recognize it by unexplainable peace just during and after resting. Spiritual renewal upon waking. A sense of protection, as if something invisible had happened. Padre Pio said, let yourself be carried like a child in the arms of the Heavenly Mother. The 7-day challenge, learning to read sleep in prayer. Padre Pio invites us to a spiritual exercise. Pray the rosary daily and for a week, observing. When? Sleep appears at the start, after a specific mystery. How it manifests, slowly, suddenly. What you feel upon waking, peace, restlessness, jot down. These experiences briefly. Apply strategies based on the origin of sleep. Physical fatigue. Adjust the time or divide the rosary. Spiritual battle. Persist with prayers out loud. Divine protection. Rest in peace, trusting. God sees the intention, not the distraction. Share the grace. Padre Pio said that grace multiplies when shared. If this teaching has touched you, tell someone who also struggles with sleep during prayer. And offer a rosary for those who have grown discouraged. Join others in forming rosary chains like spiritual soldiers. Every Hail Mary is a rose that never withers, even if you fall asleep while watering it. Thank you for watching this video. Leave your like and subscribe to the Living Hope channel on YouTube. Activate notifications by clicking on the bell to receive other publications.